Hello and welcome to Trace Cloud. In this video, we will talk about web forms. Web forms are a way for you to kind of expose your tool or Trace Cloud to your lightweight users so they don't have to figure out how the whole system works. And all they get is a small form that they fill, at the end of which the objects get created in Trace Cloud. So let's go a little bit more in detail. As usual, I will use my demo project. For example, let's say I have a lot of field agents or people who are not necessarily heavily vested in requirements management, but I want to capture their information. So what I really want is, in this example, I want to expose a form to users where when they fill that form up, they all become my user stories in this folder. And the way I do that is I go to my configure project, I go to manage web forms, and I do create a new web form and select basically which requirement type and which folder those objects will get created in. I give the form a name, a description, and some kind of an introductory blurb that shows up when people open the web form. I can say who the default owner for these objects will be when they get created. I can clarify who needs to get notified and also whether they need to be submitted for approval. I have a sample example here called a sample business requirements web form. In this case, all the objects that get created go into the business requirements folder of the project. This is kind of a HTML message that I can show if I want to give some instructions to users. And by default, Jeff becomes the owner. In this example, make myself the example. I'm here. And then I can see who needs to get notified when this web form gets when new object gets created and whether it needs to be submitted for approval. Now here is the URL to access the web form. So what I do at this point is I can just share this link to my user base and say, you don't need to know about Trace Cloud, you don't need to know how it works. All you have to do is here's the link, or you can embed this using iframes on your web page. So at this point, your field person comes in and says, well, you know what, this is my new requirement from the customer. And all they have to do is they just create the object. At the end of it, you can see pretty much the object got created. They don't need to know what it looks like in the background, but if they're members of the project, they can always kind of click on it and get to the requirement and see it. But the expectation is they're not really in the business of executing on the requirements. This is a mechanism for you to easily capture information that is coming in from the field into your Trace Cloud system, and you can at a later point have a process flow that sends it through approval and your development cycle. Hope that helps.